You just saw a movie, Milagro-Beanfield War. What do we want to know from this movie? What are we looking for in this movie? Right off the bat, if you look at the movie, which we've been doing, I don't know if you felt it was worthwhile or not, you've got the title of the movie, which on first appearance looks like it's nothing. In fact, you say, oh, this movie is uninteresting, dull, silly title, and so on. But then you look closer at it, and you realize the person who created it, or produced it, or involved in it, had grander ideas. I told you some of those last time, the first time we met. Milagro. It wasn't necessary to call the movie by the name of Milagro, was it? Because if you know Spanish, which I'm not a great expert in, but some of you know pretty well, you'll know that Milagro is a religious idea, miracle. So miraculous. So already we're having the religious aspect of this movie coming into play, even in the title and the kind of words producer wanted to use, start to convey what his movie was about. Miraculous, miracle. It's a miracle. The next thing, beaners. I mean, often in an insulting way, people like to talk about others from different cultures, particularly south of the border here in the northern hemisphere, Americas. Beaners, because people were thought of as picking beans. And that was old California language from way, way, way back, stereotypical California language. Not just probably California, all across the Southwest, but particularly I think California because of the amount of agricultural industry they had in this state, and also the amount of labor they needed to harvest it. But you see, this becomes the central theme in the movie right from the title, Beanfield. What some people think of as pejorative or negative in the movie, in the title, I think is meant symbolically, actually in a positive way, wouldn't you say? And then once you realize it's taking a negative and turning it into a positive, what people think is the least attractive part of a certain historical, cultural background is turned into the most historical, or the most attractive part of a certain cultural, historical background. Now, you wouldn't think that if you had seen a Hollywood movie come out in, when was it, like 1989 or 90 or something like that. You saw a movie called Milagro-Beanfield War, you think, oh, it was something to do with the Central Valley and a lot of labor trouble or something like that. You wouldn't think that, you know, it had to do with religion or religious symbolism or anything like that, would you? So, I already told you when we started out with this movie what the Beanfield symbolism was. But just to make it more intense or deepen it, what was the Beanfield we implied when we started out with this?
Fertility.
I think we can see in the movie clearly that the implication is one of fertility. You remember here at the end of this movie that you just saw when everyone turns out and they're all picking the beans, and it's become almost a religious festival, and then suddenly everybody is kissing and embracing, and then pretty soon they're shooting their guns up in the air, and It's on a minor scale a very massive celebration of togetherness, unity, well-being, healthiness. Society is in its right balance or orientation or its correct harmony. So that's what comes through. When the bean field is producing and everyone is cooperating to make the bean field produce, then happiness spreads out like waves. As I said, it's pretty much of a feel-good movie, isn't it? So it isn't really, I mean, we don't take this as realistic. Honestly, I don't think anything like this ever happened in the world, not at the time of Christ or at the time of Robert Redford. Forget Mel Gibson. I don't think nothing like this happened in real life, in real history. So I think this is, unfortunately, don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, closer to real history than the Gospels might be. But in any case, nothing like this occurred. I know a lot of you have feelings. We've always said in teaching and in discussion in the world, if you, surest way you want to offend someone is talk politics and religion. Because why? Those are the things people feel, unfortunately, most deeply about. Why, I sometimes wonder, but that's it. Sure enough, you say something against someone's politics, you're going to get yourself into a nasty argument, if not worse. Could even end up in alienation and even actual physical struggle between you. You know, politics is a very divisive thing, but religion even more so. If you say something negative about someone's religious feeling or something that they feel affection for, regardless if it's justified or not, you're going to produce animosity, resentment, hostility, because the person immediately picks up on, oh, he's against me. What causes that? What causes that? In my personal feeling, and I'm the one talking at the moment, you can respond if you want, it's a kind of tribalism. It's sort of goes way deep into our species. Solidarity or tribalism with the cultural group. You know, you can have new cultural groups, you can have old cultural groups. I tend to, often in talking about things, spin off into areas that have nothing to do with what we were talking about, but are worth finishing up just because the thought started. A lot of people say, well, Eisenman, you're never going to get back to where you started. It's true, often I get out on a limb and then the limb gets sawed off and I have no idea where I began. But this one, hopefully, we will get back. We're talking about solidarity, tribalism and things. Mostly your solidarity is with your country, is with your people, is with your religion, things like that. I mean, you may not even be a Muslim that you practice or anything like that, but if someone says something negative about Muslim, your back gets up. Christianity, obviously, also, Judaism also. I think Buddhists are less like that, although I'm not sure Confucians really care that much if you say something negative about them. But Shinto, Western religions particularly are aggressive in that regard and hypersensitive. People get, but you can have newer, what are our new allegiances? I mean, we don't, well, here we are, Cal State Long Beach. This becomes an allegiance group. All people who have been to Cal State Long Beach feel a certain connection to each other. Not as strong as some other places.